How do you feel that your business situation has been impacted by COVID-19?
Our business situation for Comintelli, I think we are quite fortunate in a sense. I don't think we have been as affected as many other companies. We are a software company. We deliver digitally. Most of our employees are used to working online and working from home. And we don't have that many customers in the travel industry. Most of our customers are sort of in manufacturing, telecoms, pharmaceuticals. So we haven't been that affected yet. In fact, I've seen some of our customers do quite nice implementations of intelligence today to monitor and track COVID-19. So that's been a positive or a creative experience.
Positive is a bad word these days.
I think I'm an optimist always. There's always an opportunity.
Okay, that's good.
So and I think that's good. I think actually, I think this whole thing that we're doing here is a positive effect of the whole crisis. It sort of forces you to be more creative and inventive, and doing these things is one of those things actually. So.
Yes. And talking about scenario planning, the Public Health Agency of Sweden, I was listening to a podcast, and then there was a woman from that agency that said that we have done scenarios, but we only take into consideration factors that impact people's health. That means not factors that impact the environment or the business side of things, but only people's health. What do you guys say about that? Is that really sound to do that?
Yes, from their perspective, this is our style of government.
Yeah.
So the authorities, they have their piece of the cake, so to say, their sector.
Yeah, and they are experts in that area,
and
and that's what they focus on. And then it's up to other people, to politicians and business people, I think, to go in and maybe
balance things.
Yeah, balance things out and have different perspectives. But I think I agree. I think they are doing the right thing from their perspective. But then other people, other decision makers, have to go in to try and balance things out.
Yeah, but do we have that kind of body? Because we have an agency for public health, but do we have?
We have a government, but
yeah. The only voice I heard in Sweden was Kerstin Hessius, who took this up. But then there's like no concrete scenario planning activities happening, I think.
But it's also, Johan said it was too early to see which scenario will evolve in the future. It's also a little bit too early to say we are going the wrong way or we're going the right way.
And I also think there's one thing about being very short term about the measures that you take, and then having a more long-term perspective as well. And what will happen maybe in autumn or in winter if this comes back again. And so there's different perspectives that you have to take. But of course, I mean, the question is at what price? And Donald Trump said the cure can't be worse than the disease itself. And so somewhere there has to be a balance there.
As a competitive intelligence professional, I tend to be a little bit motvalls, as we say in Sweden, and kind of be, if everybody says yes, then I say no, and then I try to see, why did I say no? What does it mean? So today, you have the Public Health Agency that have all the health figures and so forth, and then politicians are taking decisions based a lot on that, but also I think media is coloring the whole thing, and I feel that there is really no balance between decisions, because there is a lot of decision making all over the world that is it's like one message only. I don't see much information. I have to actively search for information on, for instance, upsides of things that are happening. I know that, of course, it's very, very gloomy and negative, but there are some upsides also. For instance, information about people who have recovered. That is something that is very difficult to find. What do you say about that? Is there a subjectivity here that is impacting decision makers, or do you think I'm wrong?
But I also think, I think this is quite a typical scenario. I don't think this is a huge surprise to a lot of people.
No.
That a pandemic could happen at some point in time, or a disruption like this. So, this has been known for years, and we've had SARS and lots of other pandemics before as well. It's more a question of how prepared are you, and do you take action to prepare for this? And I think that's the problem here, is that people have known that this can happen, but no one has done anything about it. There has been no action. And that's where I think there's a similarity to competitive and market intelligence. We as analysts can see things, this is going to happen, or the likelihood or the scenario of this is quite high. And then you present that to the decision makers and management, and you show them all the analysis that you've done, and they say, yes, that's fine, sure, but they don't act until it hits them in the face. Like it has done now with Corona. Corona is just an example of how something has hit them in the face. But it could have been anything. You lose a deal to a competitor or something, and suddenly management is forced to act. But they don't do it until they are forced to do it. And now we are forced to act because of Corona.
Yeah. Okay. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, they ran an extensive service last year that showed how unprepared USA would be to battle pandemic. And Jesper, you said that this was known already, but how should we act? Intelligence professionals, how do we act to actually make the decision makers to generate action, to maybe increase fundings to battle pandemics in this case?
I think that's a difficult question, but I think it's the most important question as well. If no matter how good your analysis, if you put out a brilliant report, but there is no action and no one cares about what you're saying, then it doesn't really matter what you're doing as a competitive intelligence or a professional. So I think in a way, this that you have this global crisis for Corona could actually be something, I'm going to use the word positive again, but it is an opportunity for competitive intelligence professionals and analysts, in that people realize that this is important and you have to track what's going on around you because it will affect you. We are sort of all part of a global interconnected world, and you can't sort of just do one thing and expect that nothing is going to happen over here. So I think this crisis can actually help us to get funding if we can show two things, I think. One is what Johan was saying, Johan Hammarlund, is that I think it's important that competitive intelligence, it becomes much more predictive, much more future-oriented. So that the things that you do, we can actually show that if you're doing this, you can help sort of have different scenarios and be prepared for what will happen in the future. If competitive intelligence can show that and help organizations become more future prepared, then I think in the wake of what's happening now, that they will be able to get more funding. But if competitive intelligence, I think this is an opportunity for competitive intelligence professionals to actually step up and show that. But then you have to move away from all the, I know there's still a lot of competitive intelligence teams that focus very much on, putting together newsletters and what has happened in the past and compiling, and these are our top 10 competitors, and you do a PowerPoint and you send it out. I don't think that's going to have so much value. So I think this is a good opportunity because people understand that they have to be prepared for the future. And if CI professionals can do that, then could be a good thing in the long run.
Today, in many organizations, the competitive intelligence professionals is a little bit too far away from the decision making, and you become a person who provide inputs to PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that. I think I like the word trusted advisor, that an intelligence professional should be like a trusted advisor that can help you to take better decisions. And now in a couple of weeks, or preferably weeks, maybe months, when companies will be restarting their businesses, the competitive landscape will be completely different, upside down in many industries. So how should competitive intelligence act to become more relevant in this time space? Do you have any answers or comments? Or
No, and also, I think another thing that's that we see as well is the use of artificial intelligence. I think is going to increase as well, not just to categorize information like it's being used today, but that you can use it also to predict behaviors as well. I think people are going to want to use, at least if you have lots of data, you can use that data to see tendencies and see patterns quite early on. As if you look at data and when they actually saw the first cases coming up in Wuhan, the data was quite clear actually that this was spreading and this was happening just by reading news stories. You could follow this, and I think that's going to be even more powerful. These types of tools as well going forward.
Yeah, but I agree that also. There is an opportunity for sure, because people will be needing knowledge and perspective going forward. I think that is something that we are trained to work with. And I also think what you say there, Jesper, is important too. Intelligence professionals should learn more tools actually, because with the data growth being exponential, there's so much stuff out there that you need to you don't know what you're looking for in all the cases. With an AI-based analytics tool, you can actually find stuff that you didn't know you were looking for.
Yeah, but also to your point, I think that's about, talking about tools, because I don't think I've learned so much about Slack and Zoom and collaborative online tools as I've had in the past 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
To your point as well, is that could be beneficial if we want to communicate and collaborate with decision makers more. I think these tools are also important in helping us reach out with intelligence and insights.
Yeah, in a way, we right now we are trying to sell fire protection services to hotel managers with hotels on fire.
Exactly.
They want water in great amounts. Not good advice. But
I agree, and we're probably in the middle of the storm now, so it's probably a bit difficult for people to sort of look ahead. And I think competitive intelligence should have, if we would have done our job better, we would have given more early warning signals, and maybe some companies did that. I don't know, but now we're in the middle of the storm, and we have to get through it to reach the next stage, and then you can start being prepared for future disruptions and crises.
Yeah.
But I think there's one thing actually that you can do as an intelligence professional to give some hope and advice, because I don't think it's completely dead. I think I agree with you, Anne. I think everyone is occupied now by trying to get revenue and cutting costs. But I think intelligence can actually help if you focus not on competitors so much, but maybe on customers. If you as an intelligence professional can help your internal customers or users with customer intelligence. What's your customer business looking at, and what are your customers' needs and demands, and perhaps finding sort of innovative customer solutions so that you as an organization can sell more. And then you're becoming a bit more tactical, and it's more here and now. But there is something where I see there is a role for competitive and market intelligence. And then help them generate revenues and help your customers make more money.
From a Porter term, you start here with the clients, with the customers, the clients' customers.
And maybe not so much competitor focus as we maybe are guilty of sometimes in the intelligence world. We're always looking at competitors. Maybe it's time to just look more at customers.
Mm-hmm. But it's a complex thing, because just to summarize what we've said, people have needs now. Companies have need to do things, but they don't have really the time to listen to us. We need to focus on the customer and to increase revenue, to help increasing revenue. But you also need to look a little bit long term. So we need to do a lot,
I think it's short-term customers, but long-term being more prepared for the future. And I think that's a role that intelligence people have, is to be a bit ahead of the game. Now everyone else is looking at the fires and being operationals, but I think we have to sort of, as you said, Ingmar, step outside and be a bit outside and look ahead.
Yeah.
What's going to happen in 6 months' time?
Right now, there are probably other people that provide better answers than we can.
Yeah. No, you're right. But we should be there. What will happen in 6 months? What will happen in 1 year's time? How are we going to adjust them? And who are our customers going to be, and our suppliers?
I think it's also so that it's almost certain that there will be an earthquake that will take out San Francisco in the future. Sometime.
Okay.
But we'll deal with that when it happens.
It's the same kind of question. People know it, but what do we do about it? In a way, it's only human to kind of.
But I think this is interesting. Is that in a sense I'm quite excited, because I think there is going to be change now.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is just going to take a few weeks and then we're going to go back to the old way of living. I think this is so big, as Johan was saying. It's so global. Everyone is affected. It's going to change a lot of business models. People are going to become more digital. We're not going to go back to traveling as much as before. There is going to be change. And I think people need to adapt to that with new business models and new ways of working. And there, I think there's an opportunity for us to help. But that may be 6 or maybe even a year ahead.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be the same world as it was last year. I think behavior is going to change so much.
Do you dare to reflect on how the role of competitive and market intelligence professionals should change in which area? Or will it be the same? We just need to enhance what we always wanted to achieve and do, or will this role change fundamentally?
But again, I think we need to become more future oriented.
That's true.
I think I still see too many competitive intelligence departments who are looking at what happened last year and looking at annual reports from what competitors did last year, and sort of it's too late then. You're just writing newsletter of things that have already happened, and you're not getting any competitive advantage by looking to the past. I think to become more sort of future, more predictive, more scenarios, more foresight.
That's true.
It's going to force changes much faster. It's been a slow sort of decrease, but this is here. I mean, already next year, I think this is going to happen.
Great. I remember I started working with competitive intelligence in 2008, actually. That was after the financial crisis, and I was working at the telecom giant Ericsson at the time, and they needed more outside-in view at that time.
Yeah. No, I think, and that could happen again.
Yeah. Without knowing the final outcome of the COVID-19 pandemic and its potential impact on the economic growth, industries, consumption, etc., what shall we as CIMI professionals focus upon right now to prepare our companies for the after-pandemic future? We have touched on it, but anybody who...
And going back to what we talked about before, the other thing that I think CI professionals can do now is to focus their monitoring and tracking on customers again. Because everyone is going to need revenue, everyone is going to need to take care of their existing customer base.
Agree.
And anything that intelligence can do to support that is going to be worth gold, I think. Then you prove your value.
I agree there, but at the same time, it's kind of difficult to try to identify customer now, depending on the industry, because demand completely vanished, and how feasible is it to analyze a customer based on what it used to be?
Exactly, and I think that's the trick. That's exactly the trick, because I think organizations, you're going to maybe have to find new customers. You're going to have to look somewhere else, so salespeople can't just go after the normal customers that they've been getting. But can we change our business model? Can we do something different? Can we find customers somewhere else?
Yeah,
that's where I think intelligence people can really help.
And here I think it's very important to just play with scenarios and play with data, and take sales guys and head of sales and head of strategy and maybe head of HR and other people in one room and just massage it and play with scenarios. I think that's the best way forward. Any comment?
To prove your value.
Yeah, exactly. And also digitalization is impacting everything, and everything is going so fast. And I think that about 35% of the US workforce, it's like something like 50 million people, are freelancers and work in the gig economy. And in Europe, the figures are lower, but the increase is there as well. And I think that what COVID-19 has shown is that people are not really, there's the social safety net is not there for people who work in the gig economy. When you're employed, you have a safety net that is completely different. So I think here you have millions of people that will stop their private enterprises and freelancing and so on. Or not, I don't know, because digitalization makes it extremely easy for people to quickly start up businesses. In Sweden, it costs only 25,000 crowns to set up an incorporated entity, at aktiebolag in Swedish. You have online bookkeeping, you have online invoicing and everything. So you reach out to clients much faster. You find the clients much faster. It's almost like Tinder dates for for people who wants to sell to customers. It's amazing. So I think digitalization is here, and it will help societies and people for sure. Okay, let's take another question here. From Luis Madureira again. Bill Gates warned about pandemics 5 years ago. We now know for experience the real impact. What will executives do in the future? How many of us will implement listening tools to identify the next threat? Would love to hear your opinions.
No, I agree. But I think most of these listening tools, they already exist. You can look at what are the most common words that people are searching on at Google, and where are what words are trending on Twitter, etc. So a lot of that is there. I think people are quite good at listening, or actually they're good at seeing what's happening, but maybe they're not really taking it in. I think that's the problem. It's not the listening tools itself, it's what do you do with it when you see these things. So you can see it quite clearly, and it's more a matter of what do you do with it.
Okay, thank you. Should we have just one last round of comments on competitive and market intelligence in the COVID-19 world? Some final things you want the audience to take with it? Jesper, you have to start.
I'm very optimistic.
Yeah.
I actually am a bit excited that we're moving into a new world. I think there will be a lot of new business models, and people will become more creative, and so I think there can be a lot of good coming out of this. And this is probably, or as Johan said as well, this is such a huge change. I think we're just seeing the beginning of something very big that will be happening in the next few years.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm excited, and I think I was thinking we were talking about how important it is for CI people, or for everyone actually, to adapt to change. But I think we might need to take it one step further. I think people have to start to love change. Because there's going to be so much change, and it's going to be change all the time. Learning new tools like this, like what we're doing now. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we had no idea how to set up an online conference like this, and you have to really be quick and love to this sort of change.
Yeah.
And that's good, I think, for CI people, because I think we are very adaptable. And we are change-driven. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what you've done. Sitting in New York in your private helicopter.
Living transformation.
Yeah, it's.
Thank you, Jesper.